Law, PLLC is 100% native-owned and operated, founded by Varen Coenvioma. Their practice areas include corporate law, business transactions, finance, economic development, gaming, casino development, online gaming, real estate, environmental permitting and approvals, telecommunications, government affairs, employment and labor relations, historic preservation and cultural resources, and energy. Coenvioma Law is committed to making positive and lasting change in our communities as they support nonprofit volunteering, community activism, and employing Indian preference in hiring and vendor relations. You are now listening to the Carl and J-Man Save the World podcast. I am your host, the 5-star, 5-diamond chef J-Man, and with me is Carl. And today is the episode that I hate doing. It's our Halloween special. And so if you recall, listeners, that last year we had a Halloween-themed episode. And it was a very scary episode because...
Yeah, you weren't into
it. Because Carl was driving the car.
And you weren't into that
and
episode.
Carl drives like so. And so it turned into a real...
excellent show.
Shitstorm of a show.
It turned into one of the best episodes
that ever. Actually, you know, it was so bad that it turned out to being funny.
It wasn't bad. It's not bad when it's good like that.
And you know, it's funny because it's supposed to be a Halloween themed episode, so it's supposed to be scary.
Yeah.
But yeah, it turned into a comedy
scary movie. It's like the National Lampoons of scary podcasts.
Well, we're back for our annual Halloween episode, and you know, I guess I do this because it's something that you enjoy.
Yeah,
I know it's something that you're very passionate about.
And plus, you know, I was born in the spooky month, and you probably were on Facebook. I don't know who in this room here set up that Facebook thing.
Yeah, that's right. And so, you know, I guess to do a sidebar from the Halloween themed stuff, the scary stuff, but over the weekend, Carl celebrated a birthday.
I celebrated the
introduction. And with me is the birthday boy, Carl. And so Carl is officially the oldest guy on the podcast. And so from here on out,
you better listen up, son.
Addressing him as, and with me is Carl.
You're 1 year behind me. You're not even a year behind me.
I'm so much younger than you are.
You're not younger than me.
If people were to see our faces, pictures of us,
you would be the one
adjacent
to say
to each
that.
other.
Who's
people
that old
would
guy
look
with Carl?
J-Man must be in his mid-20s.
They'll probably say, who's
Carl
that old guy with Carl?
At least in his 40s.
It's 40s.
And so happy birthday. How did you celebrate your birthday?
Oh man, you know, when you're getting past the 35 range, you tend to kind of not celebrate your birthday because it kind of marks where you're like you're getting almost to the midway point. And you know, I just turned 37, so
and you know what they say is that the life expectancy of a Native American man is so short that you're practically at almost into your old age.
Yeah, that's the reason why don't want to celebrate my birthday. And but anyway, let's get past the down part of this whole episode here and go past. And we are going to be talking about the Halloween portion of this. So we're going to have so much fun with scary stories, dreams, whatnot. We're dream warriors, Freddy Krueger, you know, the whole works like that.
Oh God, I hate being scared so much, and that's why I dislike Halloween, I guess, because then it's like horror movies are on everything. There's all these Halloween specials that are on all the streaming apps. Poor soul. I don't know how many horror films you've made her watch up to this point.
You know, we have a tradition in our house is that every Halloween, the spooky month, from day 1 till 31st day, we watch one scary movie every night. One scary movie. It doesn't matter what scary movie it is. Can be the classic, can be the new remake of anything, but it's one scary movie every night, and we love it. And on the 31st, we watch The Exorcist.
I love how you phrase that it's like our tradition, but the reality of it is that you make your elderly grandparents watch these horror films starting from October 1st.
Yeah, that's true.
To October 31st. So I'm sure that that in the month of October, there's an extra box of Depends that's purchased for the household for whatever trauma that's caused when it's time for them to go.
And because she hates scary movies, but I make it up. I make it up to her by watching like the Lifetime, the Hallmark Channel.
Yeah.
Once it hits the November and December months,
you make it up for her when you. I
make it up. Yeah, I make it up that since we watched somebody's head being blown off, we'll make it up by somebody kissing each other underneath a nice tree, Christmas tree.
I thought you were going to say, I make it up for her because then I only make Soul cook me breakfast and dinner on her birthday. She doesn't have to cook me all 3 square meals on her birthday.
Traditionally, like when my birthday is around this month, we usually barbecue. And since yesterday, not yesterday, when was it? Sunday, it was raining. It was raining and it was hailing, and I couldn't barbecue. So I said, let's have Chinese.
Okay.
So Soul whipped up Chinese food. We had Chinese.
Soul makes Chinese food.
Soul makes Chinese. It's pretty much easy to make Chinese food.
Crack the can of cat food open. Dump some soy sauce onto it.
It's how it's made.
Served on top of rice.
It's how it's made. But anyway, it was a great birthday party. We had cake. And ice cream afterwards. So,
well, one thing that I did want to mention is that we do have a special guest today.
Yes, we do. We do have a special guest today. And she is a very great person that knows a lot about spooky stuff. Mm-hmm. And she's
there's a reason why we have a special guest today. There's a reason why. And that I'm not good at talking about scary things.
No, you're not.
I'm not good at talking about Halloween-y things. Because normally when we come in here to do a podcast episode, if it's a topic that I enjoy, which is probably like 85% of the time.
Yeah.
I have this long format because there's so many points that I want to talk about. But today came and, we're going to talk about Halloween and scary things today that my format is like one sentence long because I don't know what to talk about.
Oh, let me ask you. Do you have any childhood memories of when you went to go trick or treat? And what was your favorite costume?
I think that my favorite costume was I dressed up as a Ninja Turtle.
Oh, really?
And I'm pretty sure that I dressed up as Michelangelo because he was my favorite Ninja Turtle. And so I had the costume on. My mom painted my face green. I had the headband that covers your eyes.
Yeah.
And then I had this toy. It was kind of like, those long, I don't know what they're called, but kids go swimming with them.
It's the
like
pool noodles.
Styrofoam,
the pool noodle. Yeah.
I had something similar to that, but it was a lot skinnier. And I cut it so that it could look like a bow.
The bow staff.
That Donatello
has.
Carries.
Yeah.
And so I had that. That was like one of my most memorable Halloween as a kid.
I remember, since this was the 90s, and I have to give you context, this was the early 90s, and that we're native, and I have to give you context before I mention something really, really rash. Right?
If I can guess.
Okay.
If I can guess.
All right.
This is leading up to, we're Native Americans, so we can do and say things like this.
Yeah. This is going to be a little bit racist, so... I remember one year, my mom, she dressed us up in blackface. And I had to give you context. We're native, it's early 90s.
There's some parts of our skin that is legitimately black, so I guess that's what you're trying to...
Yeah, and I remember we were so racist. I mean, like... It wasn't where like, let's just go blackface. No, it was blackface, white lips all around, like the 1950s ad. You know how like the 1950s ad, they would show like a blackface with the white lips and what what she did was that she made us look like the coal farmers or whatever, potato farmers or cotton pickers. And we wore overalls. We wore like, and it was, and nobody batted an eye, like they're the brownies,
So now you admit that this stuff is racist. We had this whole argument last week about your commentary on Indigenous Peoples Day. And you basically claim that things like this isn't considered racist.
No, I'm not saying it was racist. I'm saying that people will think that this is racist. This is the early 90s, and we're Native American.
Back when racism was acceptable.
So I remember that. I remember dressing up in blackface and going door to door and saying, hello, master.
It is the 2020s now, so all you Rez families, blackface is not cool.
Yeah,
blackface is not cool.
Well, okay, so if a child dressed up in blackface today, what would you say? What would you say if it just stayed in the villages?
I would say, what the fuck? Which is exactly what I was thinking when you first were telling your story.
I wouldn't say anything. I would just say, here's some cotton.
People like you. Look at the little Castillo boy.
Yeah. Because we're racist. Hopis are racist. I have to admit that Hopis are racist.
Not all of us are racist.
You're a racist too.
Just people like Carl that, it's.
I admit I'm racist to my own people and everybody else. So we're all equal in everybody's eyes.
Well, can we talk about Halloween again?
But anyway, besides the point, I mean, like that was one of the costumes.
That there are others out there aside from just me that you're making very uncomfortable.
That was one of the costumes that were back in the early 90s. And I remember that, and I loved Halloween. I love going door to door, and I love doing that. I love watching scary movies, like any type of scary movies, from Jason to, Freddy to, all of the classics like that. And every year we watch them. We watch Michael Myers.
Let me ask you this question.
Okay.
For my own personal research.
All right.
Why do you find being scared enjoyable? Like what's so fun about it? I guess because I know that there's tons of people. I know lots of people that love scary movies just like you. I know tons of people that love Halloween just like you. And I can't figure out why it's so fun.
Because reality is much more scarier than having Jason run after you or having Freddy Krueger in your dreams, because it's a different reality that you set yourself in, and that reality is something that is more scarier that I don't like. And that's why I love horror movies, because it's so fake that it will never happen. Although there have been stories that have been based around these Halloween movies like that, but all in all, it's just a way of getting away from reality. Like Michael Myers, the serial killer, Michael Myers, he only stalks, only stalks one woman because that's his sister. He has a plot to that story, or where Freddy Krueger, he stalks a bunch of
Freddy
kids.
Meets Jason.
Or Freddy stalks a bunch of kids because their parents killed them or killed him, so he's trying to get revenge. Those are types of stories like that I really like about these horror movies. And when you want to get away from reality, because reality is scary. Reality is scary where it's I'm going to maybe get lost one day or maybe get kidnapped. And those are the types of realities that you always think about. And then when you finally see that in scary movies, that it becomes a fake scary genre of movies or part of life. And so that's the reason why I do like scary movies. And I've grown up with scary movies. Every time I there was been a new movie that's come out ever since the 90s, there's always been that scary movie. And I love scary movies. Apart from the classics, you have, a lot of the things that are in scary movies are kind of based in real life. Do you know that movie Strangers?
No.
You don't know the movie Strangers? No. Strangers is one of my top favorite movies because it's based on reality. It's based on the assumption that yes, this could happen and this actually did happen.
See, that's why like I hate it, like, because like you said, a lot of these movies are based on actual happenings.
Yeah.
And then so it's like I don't get why you think that this is something that can never happen.
But it's like a fake.
A lot of
scary,
it, based off of reality.
Okay.
And so like when I watch something that's scary, right?
Yeah.
It's this idea that whatever it is that I watched happened somewhere.
Yeah.
And that freaks me out because then if it happened somewhere, it could happen anywhere.
Okay, all right.
Including here.
Okay.
And so that's why it freaks me out.
Okay. So like I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying that, like, yeah, it's based on reality, but it's also based on the fakeness part of reality, where it's like we're exaggerating this whole idea of what had happened. Like the Strangers movie. Okay, so I'll talk about the Strangers movie. In that movie,
we only have an hour to talk, Carl.
But no, okay, I'll give you a little rundown. In the movie, there's like 3 characters that knock on this woman's door and they start terrorizing her. And they eventually kill like the husband, and there's like a brother there, or I think there's a brother in there, and I think there's a woman. And it's based on real life. It's based on reality of like different types of serial killers out there. But it's so exaggerated that like, them showing up to your door like that, it's like 1 in a million chances.
Mm-hmm.
So
I got a question for
okay.
you. What do you think the scariest things on the reservation are?
Ooh, man, reservation dogs, meth heads. I don't know. Yeah, like okay, so we do have taboos on the reservation.
So I did well. So I did pull a list off of.
Okay.
This is something that we're going to talk about in a little bit because does exist something out there on social media. I think primarily it's on Facebook. Something called the Hopi Ghost Stories group, and we've mentioned this group before. And so in preparation for this episode, I did request approval to be accepted, and I was accepted. And so like I give a big shout out to Chick Anna Buhuyama, who I believe is one of your sisters out at Munkapi, and I think she's an admin on the page. But I pulled this list, scariest things on Hopi, and you actually mentioned one of them. Coming in, I guess last is
meth heads.
The dark.
The
dark.
Talking
right?
about meth heads.
The dark's always scary because we can't see what's in the dark. 2, pack of dogs, which is what you said, Rez dogs. Number 3, Soyoko. Who's not afraid of Soyoko?
Yeah.
What did we say in our last episode? That's like the Hopi version of Shrek.
Yeah, go ahead.
And then next on the list is when mom cleans. Why would it be scary when mom cleans?
I don't know. Soul doesn't clean, so.
I guess the idea is because she gets all pissed off and starts throwing things or yelling at you. Death. I think death is a big driver. For horror genres, because if you're afraid to die, then why the hell would you be afraid of Jason?
Yeah, that's true.
And then the most scariest thing is seeing highway patrol doing a U-turn. I don't know why that's so scary, because they give you a ticket and you don't pay it anyway.
Yeah, on the reservation, they only give you a warning, so. You were driving 65 on a 10-mile zone here. I'm going to give you a warning right now.
But I think now would be a good time to bring on our special guest.
Yeah, let's do that, because she knows a little bit more about Halloween and scary movies and stuff like that. And you can actually take a break, so
like come back and
you can come back
in 30
like
minutes.
That. All right, so let's welcome our intern AJ Nequatewa. So let's give her a round of applause here.
Hi everyone.
You don't have like a spooky button like bats screeching out of a cave for the clap?
No.
And so we had to recruit our intern AJ because, as I've admitted before, I hate talking about this stuff. And so what good would that be for Carl to talk about this so fondly by himself? And so AJ, why don't you tell us why you like Halloween and all this scariness?
For me personally, I really enjoy Halloween because it's the only time of year when normal people believe in these things that are actually going on out there. I know that, like Carl said, a lot of these horror movies are based off of true things, but, you know, they're human horrors. They're murderers, things like that, psychos. But we often forget that there are non-physical, spiritual realm entities out there that also do these things.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that, you know, that was kind of one of the things I wanted to mention is that I guess as far as telling horror stories of the Rez, and yeah, I think that in our last episode when we had Jeremy Bach on, but
yeah,
our stupid soundboard erased the episode.
I know.
That he did bring that up. He said that it's hard to tell these stories because of the fact that we're native.
Yeah.
And that there's taboos.
There's taboos that align with that.
Talk about certain things.
And so he did, you know, Jeremy did mention a good point is that, like, you know, why are we scared of these different things when other people that are not our, you know, religion or culture afraid of these types of things? Like he mentioned one time, we mentioned once before, he mentioned that he said that, you know, if a white kid plays with like the owl or like with a skeleton or something like that, they're perfectly fine. You know, the next day they're okay. You know, and then when a native does all of this, then they're cursed or they're like, you know, it's bringing death to them, or like, you know, that's the taboo part of it to them.
Mm-hmm.
I think that what I think about that is I feel that natives are a lot more sensitive to these things because we understand it. We grew up being taught about it.
Yeah.
With Bahanam, they you know, they don't have those respects for these entities. So in a way, they're really closed off to possessions, to whatever you want to call it, to being attached by these spirits. But as natives, we're a lot more susceptible to that because we're more open. We let things in a lot easier. We don't know how to not close ourselves off to that, so we just avoid it most of the time. We don't like to confront it. But I think that there's a lot of people out there, if you educate yourself enough on it, you can be, I don't say immune, but you can be closed off to a lot of this and you're protected and away from things.
You know, yeah, it's like, I guess it's just like, I don't want to say personal choice. I want to say it is part of like tradition. It's part of like Hopi culture that we're not supposed to talk about certain things like death. We're not supposed to look at certain things like an owl or like go out at night, you know, or different things like that.
Acknowledge witchcraft.
Or acknowledge witchcraft.
Oh, we talk about it.
Yeah, we talk about
it.
Yeah, we talk about
to each other in our homes. Drink a little bit too much, and then all the Owaka stories come out about. That's always a funny thing because then it's like for natives, it's like something bad happens to us. Oh, somebody's witching me.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's kind of funny, but I'm willing to share a story.
All right.
I'll share it later on once we get to that point,
okay.
But I'm willing to creep out onto that branch of fear and share something. And if that branch falls with me, then I guess at least I did it in the name of listens for our podcast. So I'm hoping that my life is worth a couple more additional listens for people to listen to podcasts. But one of the things that we were going to talk about is that specifically about this Facebook group, Hopi Ghost Stories. And so AJ, I believe that you're familiar with this group. Carl, both of you and I are familiar with this group. And basically what it is that it's a platform for, I think, specifically Hopis. And so I guess, Carl, maybe you are right that we are racist people, but it's a platform specifically for Hopis to share some of their stories. And so I hope we don't get sued by this group by sharing some of the stories online. But I did find one story in particular. And so
just to make it clear, disclaimer, these are not our stories.
Just to make it clear, these are not our stories.
Good.
And so I found one story in particular. And so basically what this individual shared in their story is that in the village that both of you guys are from, Hotvilla, that they were told by their souls that there's a side of the mesa, basically by the spring area, by Bamich, where you're not supposed to play during certain times of the day. And so this individual shared that during one weekend that there was a tikive in the village, a dance. And so being young, being kids, that they thought that, they weren't interested in what was going on in the kisome. They weren't interested in the dance. And so rather they went to the cliff and they started playing below the cliff right in that area where Balmach was. And so they were playing there. And the individual telling the story says that they were playing and they came upon an opening into the rock. They found a cave, basically. And so he tried to look in, and he couldn't really see because it was very dark. And so he challenged his cousin that was with him. I dare you to crawl in there. And of course the cousin's like, no, I'm not going to crawl in there. And then so he tried to position himself, the guy telling the story, position himself to see if he could look in to where the light was shining, the sun was shining, to see if he could see further in. And his curiosity got the best of him. He crept closer and closer to the opening. And then basically got to a point where his head was in the hole, but he saw eyes. Reflection of eyes similar to that of a cat inside this cave. And seeing this eye freaked him out. And then so he ran along with his cousin back to So'o's house and told So'o, this is what I saw. We found a little cave. And there was an eye. I saw an eye inside when I looked. And then, of course, the So'o got mad at him and said, I told you not to be playing down there. And that probably what you saw was a palalokan, which is a water serpent that many of us believe to live in our springs that are located throughout our mesas. And so the boy, his So'o, then the next day got piki, some homa, and they took it back to the same place to offer it to this being to release the boy's spirit if it got caught there. But then when they returned and when the boy showed his soul where he saw it, that the hole that he had found had shrunk, and that he looked at this hole and he said that there's no way that I could have stuck my head in there like I had, but I swear so I stuck my head into this hole. And so often you hear stories like this in Hopi households, that these beings that live with us within the village make themselves accessible to those that are around. And so I thought that that was kind of an interesting story, because then it's like you hear these stories often, that sometimes even like Gokyang Sowuti, Spider Woman, that people are able to enter her home even though it's literally the size of an actual spider's home.
I wrestled that palalokan before, so. But anyway, yeah, those are types of stories that are on the reservation, and you really don't hear them anywhere else. You know, you hear of different types of like water serpents around Native America, but you don't hear them specifically about how Hopi has dealt with them. You know, how Hopi has seen them. How Hopi has portrayed them. And another thing too, to go along with that story, my taha, he passed away a while back, and when he was in college, he was going to Santa Fe, and one of his art projects were to paint something that was like mythical or like was spiritual to him. And so he chose palalokan. So he did that. He started to paint that serpent, like how he saw it. And every night he heard water. He heard water in his room. He heard the ocean. It was clear as day that, you know, there was splashing everywhere, and he was freaked out. He would get up in the middle of the night and he would see his painting, and that would be it. You know, the sounds would stop when he would see his painting. He would paint some more, and every night he would hear that again. Every night he would just hear water splashing. And he got so freaked out that he called So'o up, he called his mom, my So'o, and he mentioned that. And he said that, is there something that I shouldn't be doing, or is there something that I shouldn't be painting? Because I've been hearing this, water all this time, and it's so crazy, because in my dorm, there's no sink. It's just a dorm. There's no sink around. I don't have a bathroom. The nearest bathroom is down the hall.
Did he sleep on a waterbed? Maybe
in the dorm. And so Solo said that you need to destroy that painting because that will probably take you. It will probably take you. So what did he do? He painted over it. He put white gesso on there and he covered that whole thing up. And that night, nothing happened. No water, free and clear like that. So he said that there are certain things that we shouldn't be portraying as Hopis. We shouldn't be carving. We shouldn't be making because yes, these are very highly regarded spirits. We can carve like the spirits of like kachinas to portray them, but we can't carve deeper types of things that we see as like taboo. So those are different things that that he encountered when he was still alive.
Do you have any similar Rez stories, AJ, that you've come across?
Something similar. Not so much a story. When I was small, maybe 13, 14, my older cousin was drawing, and he was drawing the bakang hoyas with the palalakang around, almost in a full circle around them. And he was, in the process of finishing it. And our soul came up, noticed what he was drawing, and said, "Don't be drawing stuff like that." She said, "You shouldn't depict the palalakan around them as if he's entrapping them. You don't conjure things like that. You don't make those things become reality, basically." She said, "You don't depict those things because that'll come back on us." And so it was a warning, and ever since then I always remember that, you don't depict things that you don't want to happen almost.
Yeah, it's very, very scary here on the reservation. So anyone who's listening to this on the outside, don't come to the reservation during these times.
There was a funny meme that I saw on Facebook. I guess I probably saw it in that Ghost Stories group, but it's like, you're going to change me $10 to enter a haunted house when I can just walk around the reservation for free?
Yeah, that's exactly true. So, there are countless of stories around the reservation here, and actually they are true. Most of them, they are true. Most of them, they're just wind that's knocking around different things. But most of the time, you do see stuff. You do see things that you don't recognize as human or don't recognize as a living I guess you would say like a living creature that you're familiar with.
The thing that scares me the most, and even scares me to this day when it happens, is that like when I was a kid, really it scared me a lot when I was a kid, but like because there are so many dogs. And so like you hear dogs all the time. The dogs don't scare me so much, but it's like those nights that you're laying in bed restless and you can't sleep. And all of a sudden, the dogs start barking real loud.
Yeah.
And the dogs usually bark because somebody's coming by, a person, a car, or something. And then so when the dogs start to bark at night, it's because somebody is walking by. But what used to scare me is that sometimes, like, the dogs would bark like somebody's walking by. But then all of a sudden, the dogs would start crying. And I used to think, like, what could possibly be out there at night that these dogs are then afraid of? And so being Hopi, I guess, is that you learn about certain areas in the village, because I'm pretty sure every village has this, but in our village down at Munkapi, that we know where Masao walks. We know where his walking path is, I guess.
Yeah.
When he wants to burn some calories, there's an area where he particularly walks. I don't know why that is.
When he joins the 100-mile club.
But there's a path where he walks, and so people, we're aware of it. We're aware of this area. And then so like that, like this is how scary there is that when dogs are barking in that area and he walks by and they start to cry, then nobody's alarmed because then it's just like, oh, Masau's probably outside.
Well,
that's why.
Well, in reality, dogs don't bark when Masau's around.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because he has this thing that he can quiet everything down.
He has a dog whistle.
It has a dog whistle with him, so dogs don't attack him. And I remember one particular thing is that he whistles.
Yeah,
Masau whistles.
Yeah, he does.
And I got up. It was probably around 3:00.
Who's Masau, by the way? Let's let you talk about it since you're Coyote Clan.
He's an old man. Masau is a deity that Hopis portray him as this is his land that we're living on. Mm-hmm. We're just basically on borrowed land from him.
He's the true landowner.
He's the true landowner, and we wanted to have him as a leader or as a god, but he told us no. The reason
because
why,
I know you fuckers are gonna get corrupt anyways.
You guys are gonna get corrupt, and that's when I'm gonna come back, and that's when you're not gonna like me when I'm angry. You're not gonna like me when I'm angry. Yeah, that kind of thing. So Masau, he does his rounds,
and we do also portray him similar to, I guess, the concept of the Grim Reaper.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess he
comes for you when it's your time to go.
Yeah. Well, kind of, in a way.
In a way.
But, we portray him as a god of the underworld or god of, like, this land here. That God
of fire.
Yeah, he comes around and he goes through different village, and he checks around. And so around 3:00 one morning, I got up to use the restroom. And I knew that, it's the witching hour. 3:00 is always the witching hour in the morning. And I said, oh, man, I got to use the restroom. I'm tired, and I just need to use it real quickly, get back to bed so I don't lose my wherever when I was dreaming. I got to keep that Jennifer Aniston dream alive. I got to use the restroom, but I got to keep that alive. So I'm, half asleep while still thinking about Jennifer Aniston.
Asleep, walking to the
yeah, it's like Jennifer, I'm coming back.
I'm coming back. Don't move.
Don't move a muscle. But anyway, it was around that time, and it was during summertime, so I had my window open, and it was silent. I mean, it was dead silent. Nothing out there was moving. Nothing out there was making a sound, and I just happened to just look out there and then just listen for just a quick second, and I heard one of the most perfect whistles from a distance, really nice. And I heard it 3 times, really, really nice. And he whistled really nice in one far end of the village. And then right below our Dimtsukim, there's, a walking path towards the Baalweg area. And that's where he whistled again. And it was loud and it was clear. I thought the meth heads were out whistling, because they whistle sometimes when there's like
that's the code.
That's the code
to order some drugs.
I don't know how do they whistle, and they whistle so like randomly, and I thought it was the meth heads, and no, it was a clear whistle. It was loud and it was perfect, and he I guess he travels fast.
Yeah.
Travels very, very fast.
Superhuman
Yeah,
abilities.
because I heard it at one end of a village, very distant, and just a few seconds later, again in wherever I was at, and then again a few seconds later at the distance far of the village, and it was gone. I told my soul and my kwa about that morning. I said that I heard one of the most perfect whistles, and soul already knew. That's Masau doing his rounds. He just does that, and he whistles.
The reason why you probably heard it was because, Masa was on his walk trying to finish his 100 miles before the deadline.
Yeah.
Blew his dog whistle because you're part coyote, and that's why you're able to hear it.
He knew that the Hotvela dogs are ravaged up there. That's why. But yeah, I mean, like there are different stories and there are different accounts of that, and I'm pretty sure AJ has something similar to that as well too.
Yeah, have you heard that? He travels in the fireballs.
Yeah.
I've had friends who've seen those go up and over the mesas.
Yeah, there was an account too. One of my cousins, he was walking home and he walks by the Tutuami up there, or the graveyard. There's the Hopi graveyard that's there, and in the distance he saw a fire. He saw the fire up there, and he was like, "Who the hell's burning something up there?" And he didn't think of anything, and he saw a figure coming like from the distance there, running, like basically running towards him. He freaked out and he's like, no way, I'm not doing that.
Do you think then that's how Liu Kang from Mortal Kombat got his powers from Masa? Because like Liu Kang, he probably met Nightwolf according to the
that's
Mortal
right.
Kombat Annihilation movie. Nightwolf is Hopi, and then Nightwolf introduced Liu Kang to Masa.
And then he learned the animality.
And then Masao gave him his fireballs.
Maybe. I think that's true.
Well, I guess if we could transition.
All right.
Before HCPO shuts us down. Because we did have this conversation before we started recording between the three of us, is that dreams can be a source of horror in one's life through nightmares. And so, like, I feel like that a lot of people kind of share the same recurring nightmares. I guess, as it pertains to their demise.
Yeah.
Because one of the things that I constantly dream about is that I dream of falling from very high places for some reason. And so there's never really any detail to like how it happens. Like I never know, like, was I hiking up a tall cliff or something and I just happened to fall? Or was I flying on an airplane and then all of a sudden I had to eject myself out of the airplane? But I just vividly always remember that I consistently have this dream where I feel myself free falling from a very, very high distance.
Yeah.
Knowing that when I hit, it's going to hurt really bad.
Yeah.
To the point that I'm probably going to die.
Yeah.
And then so I have these dreams of falling and falling and falling. And in my head, I'm just thinking it's going to be so painful once I finally hit the ground.
Yeah.
But that's one of the recurring dreams that I have as far as nightmares go. And my death, I don't know about you two.
Well, this actually happened last night. And it's sort of like...
Let me guess. You had this dream where Soul makes this really good casserole and you're eating it and it's so good. So you get a second helping and then you eat it some more, thinking that you're going to go for a third helping, and then you realize that, well, I ate the rest of it.
No. This actually did happen before, and it's just sort of like a reoccurring dream. I don't know why I kind of have this reoccurring dream. I'm thinking that I'm probably like stressed or something like that. I probably have like deep depression or something. I don't know. It's probably diagnosable or something like that. But anyway, I've only had this dream probably like 5 or 6 times in my lifetime, and it's a dream where the world has ended.
Oh, really?
And it's where, like, it's based on reality, where like the atomic bombs, we went
off.
Yeah, we have atomic bombs here in the United States. There's one in New Mexico, I believe.
On the reservation.
Yeah, and there I see, and it's like the end of the world. It's like I see that there's a huge explosion around like Utah or like Colorado area, and it's so huge that you feel the blast coming at you a couple minutes later, and you tell Soul, like, okay, we gotta get somewhere safe. And it's like I'm trying to protect Soul and Kwa so much that I can't do it. I can't do that because I know what's going to come next. The initial blast that's going to knock down everything else, that's going to flatten everything, or whatever they call the blast after the nuclear explosion. And not just one, but like several bombs will be going off. Multiple bombs. And I'm on the phone as busy as possible saying, hey, why don't we get together?
Cancel all your subscriptions.
I'm on my computer trying to erase all my history, and I can't go out like this. No,
I have to get to heaven.
Have to get to heaven. It's like Soul's gonna be really mad when she finds out that I have these things on here. No.
Someone's gonna be a ghost suit and she'll be able to see everything.
She's gonna know that this is happening. No. I'm on the phone, like talking to like my external family, like all my guys that are there, all my other clan members, and saying like, hey, why don't we get together? Why don't we, come to the house and maybe we can be huddled together and we could be safe, all of that types of things. And I don't know if it's like a diagnosable thing that I'm having, but I guess in the long run, it's like more or less like trying to protect everyone around me. Mm-hmm. Rather than deleting my history, my internet history. So
I think that has something to do with our cultural background, because I also have dreams like that.
Really?
But they're they're more pertaining to like entering the like emergence, like going to the next world.
Yeah.
That's what I dream about, and it's kind of us saying, okay, we're leaving everything here. We're all going together. So I dream about, everyone in the village like coming together and all making our way outward. But I can never finish the dream, so I don't know where we go.
Yeah, it's so weird.
It's that anxiety though that really freaks me out, and it stays with me even after I wake up.
Yeah, it was so crazy because when I woke up, I was still in that dream state where it's like, I gotta protect Soul. I hope she's making breakfast right now. Those are the types of things that I have.
And then AJ, I know that you shared with us other recurring dreams that you've had before.
Yeah, I do think that a lot of my dreams that scare me have to do with my fear of things I can't control. So mainly the two big things are water. Not really not a big fan of like standing water.
Oh, no
lakes, rivers, ocean. Do not like it because I don't know what's in there. Yeah. And and the other thing is falling, which is kind of funny because we live up on top of the mesa, and I constantly have dreams of falling off a mesa or a cliff or something, and I don't know where that comes from, but it's never it's never the impact that scares me. It's the falling. It's the feeling of falling and going through the air that always
kind of gets you.
It gives me like sleep paralysis.
Really?
Yeah. And I just do not like that feeling.
My brother and sister, we fell off the mesa once.
But that wasn't a dream.
But it wasn't a dream. This was reality. We were playing around the edge of the mesa, and we both fell off. And it's not just a straight down. It's like a little hill that kind of gradually slopes down about 100 feet. So there's a bunch of trash that broke our fall.
And then you started to roll.
No, there was a bunch of trash on the side of the mesa that broke our fall. So, but yeah, it wasn't a fall. We were sliding down the mesa.
Well, the one dream that I used to have that I'm willing to share, and I was kind of going back and forth with myself if I was going to share this, because then I think a lot of it has to do with our own taboos.
Yeah.
But then I thought, it's like, well, I'd share this story with people face to face. And so it's like, well, why not just share it with the thousands of listeners on there and just pretend that it's face to face with 1,000 different people. But I used to, because AJ mentioned sleep paralysis, but I used to have these dreams where I would fall asleep and then I'd be conscious, but I couldn't tell if I was awake or if I was sleeping because I'm lying in bed. And like like I'm literally in my room. Like I can see everything as if I was just laying there wide awake, but then all of a sudden I would hear something. And from dream to dream, it would change on what that something was. Sometimes it would be somebody coming in and somehow I just instantly knew this person had bad intentions. Or I've had a similar dream to where it was the devil himself and I could sense his presence.
Yeah.
But I would lose the ability to move. I would lose the ability to speak. Laying there in bed in dark, I would get so scared that my body would stiffen up. In Hopi, they call it masharuti.
Yeah.
And so I would get so scared that I could barely move. Like it would take all of my strength just to move my body centimeters. It would take all the power in my lungs to try to yell, but to barely let out a simple Carl. And so I would be laying in bed and I would have these dreams.
Yeah.
And, I would wake up from my dream. Like nothing but bad would happen to me.
Yeah.
Whoever came to my room with bad intentions, they'd never get me.
Yeah.
The devil himself would never take me to hell.
Yeah.
But I guess what became scary was that these dreams became really consistent.
Yeah.
Like I would have these dreams a lot, to the point to where I would be so scared and at the same time annoyed with them that I would sleep with the TV on. Because in my head I would think that this is going to help me from not dreaming this. And then the dreams would constantly happen.
Yeah.
I would constantly have these dreams to where I'm lying in bed. And because when you have a dream, that the setting is sometimes it's like a really weird place.
Yeah, yeah.
Like something from a science fiction show.
Yeah,
or
yeah.
a movie.
Like Freddy Krueger's.
Recognize.
Yeah, like Freddy Krueger's
kind of. You don't recognize the background.
Yeah.
But in these dreams, the background was my room. And so it got to a point to where I couldn't tell if I was sleeping or awake.
Yeah.
When I would have these dreams. It would get to the point that when I was ready to fall asleep, I could feel my body stiffen up before I even fell asleep.
Yeah.
And I started to stop being afraid of these dreams because they were happening so often that I started to become annoyed with them because it would prevent me from getting a full night's sleep. And it got to the point where I learned how to wake myself up from these dreams.
Yeah.
Because the dreams would be the same. I'd be asleep and somebody was coming to me with bad intentions.
Yeah.
And I would get scared. But it got to a point to where towards the end of having these dreams, I would wiggle my feet as fast as I could. And that's what would wake me up. And then I'd wake up. But then because I'd be half asleep, I couldn't tell if I was awake or not. But one time, I was so annoyed with these dreams that when my body would stiffen up in my dreams,
yeah,
I wasn't scared. I was just trying to move as hard as I could so that I could fall off the bed and so I could wake up. I'd be yelling as loud as I could to try to alert somebody it wasn't happening. But one night, I finally caught the person that was coming into my room with bad intentions.
Yeah.
I finally caught this person. And this person was wrestling with me, fighting. And this person was trying to bury their face into the pillow because they didn't want me to see their face. And so I was fighting and fighting, not managing to see this person's face. And then I woke up.
Yeah.
And then I woke up. And after this dream where I finally caught this person, I stopped having these dreams. I cured myself. And so if you're familiar with the second Doctor Strange movie, that Dream J-Man saved real J-Man from these sleep paralysis dreams that I've been having.
Are you sure it wasn't your wife trying to smother you with the pillow at night? Mama needs their life insurance.
It could be.
It's odd about that because in Navajo, they say, like medicine men, they tell you if you are able to find out who it is who's doing these things to you, they'll leave you alone because they lose their power.
Really?
And so if you can, even in your being awake, if you know who it is, they won't bother you.
Oh, really?
Because that mystery or whatever, that power that they had over you is gone. Yeah. Wow. It's also funny about, your experience like that because as a really young kid, like 5 or 6, I experienced stuff like that too. But I know I was awake. And it was really solidified the last time, my last experience. So as a kid, I slept by myself. And I would often wake up in the middle of the night and I would see these figures, men and women. I could tell because of their height and the build, but I'm pretty sure they were spirits because I've heard other people talk about them, but they were not, they weren't like fog or smoke or anything. They looked like when your TV has static, how it's real staticky.
Really? Oh, yeah.
That's what they look like to me. And it was like a being made of that static. And they would be in my house, in my doorway, come into my room and stuff like that. And they never bothered me, but I would see them. And I knew they knew I could see them, and so they would show themselves to me. But the last time that I ever saw one, it was a little girl. She was probably about my size, my height. She came into the room, and I remember her clearly playing with my toys, because at that time, this was probably 2002, 3, 4, 5, somewhere around there. But I had
and you were a little girl back then? Man, that just kind of dates me right now.
Carl was graduating from high school.
We were graduating from high school by then.
I was probably in junior high school, maybe.
But at
we graduated together.
At the time, I had one of those Barbie horses. When you moved it, it's, what do you call it? The hooves, they lit up. So you had to make a good motion in order for the lights to move or to come on. And I remember seeing that, like the lights shining in my in my room in the middle of the night, and you could see it going, and it would stop and then it would go again. So obviously something was moving it around, and I would constantly find things moved around in my room, and it was always my toys. And after that, I just kind of paid no mind to them. It was just a regular thing.
Poltergeist.
I think that's something that we've never really talked about. Hopi's, our concept of the power that children have to be able to see things.
Yeah, that's true.
Regular grown adults can't see. Because one of my sisters, she had a similar experience, because when she was young, probably about the same age as AJ's story, was that she would run around the house, but then she would always tell everybody that she's playing with somebody.
Yeah.
But she wasn't playing with anybody. And so everybody just, it's probably an imaginary friend. But she always had a name for this person, that this is who she was playing with. And then one day they found her in her room, and she was all tied up.
Yeah.
Like she was tied up real good. Like there was no way she could have tied herself up like that, but she was tied up real good. And they got scared. They asked her, "What happened to you? Who did this to you?" And then she said it was her friend that she always plays with.
Yeah.
That's who did it to her.
Scary. That is poltergeist kind of thing. You know the reason why we're not natives are not in scary movies? Because we live that every day.
We know what to rationally do.
We know what to do. Don't do that. That's taboo. Yeah, the white woman's all like, "No, we gotta go this way.
Hide behind the chainsaw.
Hide behind the chainsaw." It's like,
get
no
in
way.
The running car.
No.
We're being chased by a serial killer, but let's stop and have sex. Like, no, you idiots.
There's a guy that's wearing a mask. It's like, no, that's just a meth head that just went wild right now.
He's not gonna do anything.
He's not gonna do anything. He's fine.
Just don't make eye contact.
Just don't make. So AJ, what is your favorite scary movie?
Oh, I have a list.
My God, she has a list. I love her even more.
So I think my top 5 would definitely have to be Interview with a Vampire.
Oh my God, my all-time favorite too.
Queen of the Damned.
Yes.
Bride of Chucky.
Oh my God, yes.
House of 1,000 Corpses. And Saw 2.
Saw 2, huh? You don't like the original?
I do, but I prefer 2 because I like the psychological of the rooms for each person.
Yes, I love that. I love 2 and 3. 2, 3, and then after that, then it just kind of gets weird.
At 5 and 6, I kind of stop and watch the rest.
Exactly.
Not worth it.
Oh man, oh my God.
But I think for the rest of my list, it would include The Devil's Rejects, Child's Play, of course, Lost Boys,
yes,
Near Dark, Halloween, the original, of course, Christine, Satan's Little Helper. I don't know if you've ever heard of that one.
Yes.
I like those kind where they're low budget.
Yeah,
films.
the B movies. Yes, love those all the way.
Stephen King's It, of course.
Oh, nice.
The Trick or Treat, spelled with the R.
Oh, yes.
But also Trick or Treat with O-R. I don't know if you've ever seen that one.
One with Ozzy Osbourne.
Yes.
See,
Those are all my favorites.
I have great ideas, Carl. We're going to be having this conversation. So, you want to know my top 5?
Yeah. What's your top 5?
Ghostbusters. Weak. Aliens. Goonies. World War Z.
Charlie Brown.
The Carl and J-Man Halloween Special 2021. And lastly would probably have to be Ghostbusters 2.
So which means let's talk to your wife about she's probably more manlier than you. Oh man, I all those movies that you mentioned are basically all my favorites as well too. I love The Witch. The Witch. Yeah. Yes, that's one of my all-time favorites as well too.
Is that the one where they lift the girl up?
No, that's the Craft.
That's witchcraft.
No, that's Craft.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love Craft. Fairuza Balk. I had such a crush on her. Yeah, Fairuza. Oh my God, she was so good in that movie in The Craft.
You didn't. I think there's something wrong with you.
I don't know. I just love girls that are like creepy and
badass.
Yeah, like those. I'm not into the jock girls and stuff like that. Come on.
Well, that explains a lot, Carl.
But yeah, I mean, like all those movies, they are made to make you scared of get away from your everyday life, get away from your realities of that, because it portrays a different, because in movies like that, there are monsters and you know how to defeat them. Like Frankenstein's monster.
Yeah. Godzilla is in my top 5 too.
He's not even scary. He's probably watched the Matthew Broderick one, the 1998 one.
You're such a fan of that movie.
I love that movie for some reason. I just love that.
It's not a bad movie.
It's not a bad movie. It's just a bad concept.
People hate it.
Yeah,
I know why people hate it.
Because Godzilla is not a mother. It's not supposed to be a mother. But anyway, that's besides the point. But like what I was mentioning before, like movies like those are designed to make you scared from your everyday life. They're there to portray a different type of reality.
Well, the good thing is that I think we did a much better job this year than we did last year.
Yeah, because you were more involved.
I was actually into and then we brought on an actual expert to help you with the scary movie list. So.
Yeah, exactly. So it's come to that time where we have to get out of here and whatnot, and I'm hungry right now, so And plus, I'm still decorating my house. There's a contest that's going on. I still need to decorate my house. So if you guys are listening to this, and thank you, AJ, for joining us. I'm pretty sure that this,
and AJ will return.
Yeah, and AJ will always return here for that, and thank you for all of that. So if you guys are listening to this and have gotten this far, thank you guys for listening to this special episode of the Halloween special.
I had fun doing this.
Yeah, I told you this was pretty fun here. So if you guys want to donate something, just go to anchor.fm/CJ Podcast 85 to become a monthly donor. It's only $1.99 or $4.99 a month. I mean, you basically become our 30-month sponsors, 30-pack sponsors, as what J-Man would say. Or if you just want to donate $1 or more, go to buymeacoffee.com/CJ Podcast to donate $1 or more.
And if you're not following us on our social media accounts, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, all across the boards. We also do have a YouTube page, which will become active at some point in time. And if you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts, don't forget to give us a 5-star review, because your podcast is not 5 stars unless your Apple Podcast says you're 5 stars.
Oh, and I forgot to mention, we are on Amazon Music, and we are on Audible as well too.
Audible.
Yeah, Audible. So if you're a fan of those, just go ahead and download our seasons there. All right. Well, thank you for listening to Carl and J-Man Save the World podcast. My name is Carl, and this is my best friend J-Man.
So long. Quack, quack.